Hi, guys, and welcome to Keep Hope Alive. This is Nadine, and welcome to our show. We are on season 6, and so many new guests joining us. We have a special lady named Holly today here with us, Holly McNeill, and she is going to tell us about everything she's done in her life and about her new journeys, which is really cool. So I've been talking to her for a little bit and getting to know her, and I can't wait to introduce her. But you know what? I just have a random question for you. How many weddings have you actually been to in the last 15 years?
You know what? And thank you, Nadine, for having me on your show. I'm really super excited to be here. I haven't actually been to that many weddings, but my son just got married earlier last month in November in Florida, and it was everything you could ever want. And I'm going to cry if I talk about it too much, but
Oh,
being the mother of the groom, it was just, we had the mother-son dance, and it was everything I hoped for them.
good, 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 good. That is so good. I mean, yeah, I know there are emotional times, and I really wanted to interview a mother of the groom. So perfect timing.
There
Film
you go.
another episode.
Of
So
course.
I want to talk about everything the mother of the groom has to go through in one of my shows. So yeah, but there's a lot of
Yeah,
steps. As a certified wedding planner, I know this, and I'm just like, okay, let's bring on the event industry and everything. So, but yeah,
for
the reason
sure.
I asked, usually in ceremonies, people will come in, they'll sign the guest book, right, to let the
Uh-huh.
couple know they were there. Well, lifeonrecord.com, they actually change that out. They put a vintage rotary phone there, which is really cool. So when the guests are coming in, they can pick up the phone and leave a message. And you can leave a 1 minute, 5 minute, even 30 minute. Don't do 30 minutes. So 30-minute message. But they also offer like a QR code right next to it. So the guests can take out their cell phones and scan that code. So, before or after they can leave a message as well. So once all these messages are collected, they will burn out on a 12-inch vinyl record, or they have this cute
Oh,
little boom box. Yeah, I call it the boom box, and it's
yeah.
adorable, but it has the gift of voice. And I'm putting
Mhm.
that the gift of voice into their little saying now. And you can go back like from a year now, listen to all your friends and family congratulating you. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. Now I'm getting in Christmas spirit. But right, there are plans, they give you that phone number for like 1 year, and it's only $99, which is cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know. It's like adding up, use for the whole year. I say before they hit their 1 year anniversary to call back. How you guys doing? It's almost a year. Happy anniversary.
Oh,
So
you can call in for you. That's amazing. I love that idea.
I
We
think,
when our wedding, our wedding, we had him write a note and we opened it 5 years later, but it's still not the voice. I think the voice would be amazing. I love the old-fashioned phone. And some people probably don't even know what that is anymore. They're gonna be like, what is that?
like, I have to use my fingers to I remember when the
That's
phone was just attached to the wall, and it's like your parents would always be eavesdropping on your calls. Yeah, I can't
yes,
about that
yes.
now.
I
So
remember that too.
yeah.
Wow, that sounds super fun.
Yes, it is. And you can find them at www.lifeonrecord.com. So I was just going over your whole bio, and I mean, 26 years ago, you're an accomplished architect. So I want to dive into that and see your journey into there. But
Okay,
you
I'm
were,
not that old, not 26 years ago, but
oh,
I have
26
26 years experience, yes, as an
experience.
architect.
Sorry, 26 years. I'm so see. I told you, correct me where I go
Yeah.
wrong. You worked with $1 billion, big names in the company industry
Yeah.
and stuff. And
Yeah.
then you hit this spiritual journey and learning
Mm,
about yourself, and you even learned Buddhism. And
yeah,
I
that's right.
I want to
Practice,
learn
yeah.
more about that too. So, and then your latest thing is per love
Mhm.
formula. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have so much to talk about. So
we do.
let's dive in with the first question. How did this all start? What makes you you? You, you.
Well, Nadine, it's interesting, when people introduce me, but the whole journey, my professional life was going gangbusters, college, right out of right out of college. I was in South Dakota, small town, but I did the largest historic preservation project in the state of South Dakota at the time. So right off the bat, I was managing projects and I went to commercial projects, eventually going to hospital work nationally and internationally. But my personal life, on the other hand, was struggling. Like many people, they have childhood trauma, and I had created this perfect life to cover up my perceived flaws, right? My flaws of unworthiness and unlovability. So by 34 years old, I had everything you're supposed to want to be happy. I had the beautiful career, handsome husband. We built a lovely home for our two children, housed our nice cars, hosted our great friends. But the foundations of that life was flawed. And at age 34, I hit a super low point and literally crying on the toilet in the middle of the night. This is still pretty early in my career. I made this vow to life, God, Buddha, the universe. Anyone out there listening, help me and I'll do better. Give me a second chance and I'll change. And I was given that second chance with my karmic debt in tow. I went out to make good on my vow in concert with my career. Yeah. And
Wow.
that's what happened.
Yeah, I just kind of threw it all at you. You did this and this and this, and go. But
Yeah.
when people, yeah, it's like when we get brought up, we look at our parents, the model of what they did.
That's
And
right.
a lot of them, like, I'm going to just use me as an example. So I grew up knowing get married, have a good career. Well, get the career first, then get married, but that always changed. And then have the house and have the nice
That's
car.
right.
Just
That's right. It's
you're
not so much now, but it is back then growing up. That's what you did. I mean, even the generation before us was way, way worse. Women had a lot less rights and stuff, but still my growing up years was, go to college, get married, have kids, all of that. And that's what I did until I blew it all up at age 34.
Oh, but you know what? That's a spiritual awakening, learning who
Yeah.
you really are too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's taken me, I haven't had that much in my life, but I had my awakening and I'm happy and grateful because I know the
Me too.
direction I need to go in life right now. So, and
Yeah,
it's
me
like,
too.
yeah, see, and it's a great gift to have.
It
So,
is. I'm super, super grateful to be here. Absolutely. But making this vow and keeping it wouldn't be easy. I first catapulted out of it what looked perfect, but was actually quite a mutually manipulative and controlling marriage, and into an 8-year battle for my children. And during that battle, I recognized that my ex-husband was trying to alienate me from them. And I had been alienated from my father as a child, thus the feelings of unworthiness and unlovability. So I knew that I had to fight. I had to fight for them. And even though it was a very low point personally, I felt unhappy, but anxiety filled, self absorbed. I fought for them and fought for them and fought for them. And whenever they left, right, I would crumble to the ground and have to pick up the pieces. But for
yeah,
8 years, I fought for them. I did eventually become alienated from them temporarily. But, a friend of mine said, you're really lucky because most alienated parents don't recover. But I
yeah.
had done enough to recover from that. And I was at my husband or my son's wedding last month.
Yay.
So again,
See,
grateful. Yeah.
that is, yeah, that's something to be very proud. And people don't have that strength all the time to fight. And
Yeah.
I do know the crumbling situation too. I
Yeah.
had to go down that road when my daughter was little, but I remember as soon as she would leave for her dad's, I would just cry in the car. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but it's a part of healing, getting that out. And what am I going to do? And I found that I had to make a new circle of friends. I didn't have any friends. It's like
Yeah.
in my relationships, I felt like I could never have girlfriends or meet people or do stuff I could like. So
Mm.
I remember my sweet 16, it was a karaoke party, and I was like, I love to sing. And then I learned there's karaoke, and I I made all of my friends at karaoke, and it's been that way. And until now, age 45, like I'll make it a point to go get that because it heals my heart and soul when I can
Yeah.
sing. So
Yeah, it certainly does.
yeah,
Yeah, but early on, making that vow, that intention, and believing there was better, I kind of tripped upon this amazing path that even though for the first 10 years, I couldn't see my way out of a paper bag. I was so stuck and
yeah,
lost. But even though I kept getting answers when I needed it and the right people, situations, and events to help me along my way, it would be like even conversations I would hear when people walk by. It was amazing. It's continued to be that way ever since I made that vow back in, well, it was 9/11, right around 9/11. Yeah.
wow, that date's pretty easy. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but making that vow and just moving forward with it and having like, do you set goals each year? I know I kind of set goals as I go. I try not to look back, but into the future. I pictured myself, okay, well, you know what? I wanted to go here and there and I haven't. And then I reflect on it. Why didn't I go? And then in my brain, I was like, just to travel. Why did I need a man just to travel? You know what? I need to get a piggy bank jar and put money in there. And I take myself and my kids with me.
Nice, nice. Well, those kind of intentions, when you make those, right, we create our lives through the power of our thoughts. And so I only had the intention for better. I knew there was better. And so this path, these things that kept showing up, like there was a movie, What the Bleep Do We Know, that came out in 2004 with Dr. Joe Dispenza talking about, our thought patterns and how we're not our thoughts, emotions, and feelings. There was psychology. I went to therapists, but also looked in books that I read, a lot of spiritual books with Wayne Dyer, Pima Chodron, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. All of those things kept showing up. It was an amazing journey, but it was also a support for me. My career was a support in one way because it was solid. But
Yeah.
when I was battling for my kids, that journey, that knowing that I'm getting to somewhere, kept me going.
Good.
It really
Good.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, I mean, I'm sure when I get to see my kiddo, I was so happy and you enjoy every moment that you
Yeah.
had with
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Like I said, for about 4 months, when they were 13 and 15, they came to me and said, "We're going on vacation with dad. We're not coming back." And by that time, I knew that dragging them back to court for the custody I already had would mean them potentially have to testify against me in court.
Oh,
So I laid down that sword and left that battlefield. But I wouldn't see them for 4 months. They wouldn't call, they wouldn't answer the phone or anything. And one day I took all of their stuff down that they'd kind of just left. I said, I'm just going to leave it outside. And I went down there and I unpacked it all. And my one son opened the door and walked out, and he just said, "I love you, Mom," and I said, "I love you too," and I drove away. So yeah, it was hard. So now I'm just so grateful. I'm just so
yeah.
so grateful, knowing that if I hadn't have fought those years, I probably would not be seeing them. There's a
Yeah.
lot of alienated people out there that are probably hurting right now. It's a tough thing. So
It is. It really is. I have a friend who definitely went through that. And, she was so hurt by it. And it leads you in different ways and doing things with your life, and I'm not saying anything bad happens, but it's just a whole new way of redeveloping yourself, you
it
know.
is. Yeah,
So that's the
it is.
best way to put it. But yeah, definitely. So you jumped into learning about your spirituality and the psychology of it and neuroscience. Can you tell me like neuroscience? I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, teach me about
What?
this.
So yeah, so we each have between 6,000 and 70,000 thoughts a day, which is a crazy amount. And
Yes.
80% of those thoughts are negative, and 95% of those thoughts repeat. And so from those patterns, from those thoughts that we repeat, we create our habits. Habits are created by repeating things over and over again. Nerve cells that fire together, wire together. So more often you think them, the more long-term relationships they have in your brain, so much so that you start identify with them. You start identifying as them. They become your personality. They become who you are. You kind of lose track that these are just patterns that are created.
Oh,
Now the brain takes in 80 million bits of information a second, but the conscious mind can only process 40 or 50 of those bits, 40 or 50. So much of this is happening below our level of awareness, below our conscious awareness. And so we don't even know these negative patterns from, in my case, for example, of unworthiness and this anxiety. These were all happening and I'm just thinking it's normal. I'm just thinking everybody feels this way because I can't see any difference. And with the path, when you put it on intention to find better and to see better, eventually, about 10 years into my journey, I realized I had something to say. So I put two intentions out to the world. The first was to retire from architecture before I turned 50. And the second was to have the time and space to write about all of what I was learning. So as intentions go, I retired 2 days before I turned 50. And in 2017, I sat down to write. But it wouldn't be until we were all sequestered in our homes during the COVID pandemic that I printed out a book proposal for a manuscript I've been writing, and literally looking over the pages, I could see my 20-year roots, and I could see from the circuitous path these practices. P.E.R.L.O.V.E, fudge, evaluate, recognize, which is the more mind training part, right? That's where we dig into all those patterns. You start becoming aware of these patterns and defaults that you've created, so that you can recognize them, right? And then let them. If you can hold them in your awareness, you recognize them, and you create space for new patterns that you do on purpose.
oh, wow. And I love, you said per love, like
Yes. Oh,
P-E-R-L-O-V-E.
P-E.
I love
That's
that.
right.
That's
That's right.
beautiful. It even sounds like a name of a perfume all of a sudden too. Create that. Per
It's
love.
interesting. Yeah, my husband and I came up with an acronym for these practices, and we came up with P.E.R.L.O.V.E, and it's not, there's not a lot of P.E.R.L.O.V.E out there. So we can all find our way P.E.R.L.O.V.E, actually.
Oh,
Goal
that's
is the
awesome.
goal.
It is beautiful. It's beautiful. So definitely. Now tell me a little bit like Buddhism. I want to learn more about it. So can you tell me kind of what you learned from it and how it's
Yeah, everything in this journey has been and continues to be just amazing divine timing. So I was in South Dakota when I got divorced, and I moved to Minneapolis with my two boys after my ex-husband had moved there. I did more spiritual growth there. I went to a Zen Buddhist center there. So I kept wanting more. So when my kids were alienated from me, I was basically stuck as a childless mother in the Midwest. And I made the decision, because if I can't live without them, I want to live by example. Moving to the greater New York City area, I still flew back once a month and actually got to see them more often. But I'm working in New York, or in Stamford, Connecticut, and I'm looking for a meditation class. I Google, meditation Stanford. There's a class 1 mile from my work, and I go to the class. It's on compassion. It's a lovely class. And after the second class, I hear somebody walk up to the teacher. It's the New Kadampa Buddhist tradition, and say, "Hey, is there a deeper class that we can study with?" And she goes, "We just finished a book study of 5 years, and in 2 weeks we're studying a new book study on the New Heart of Wisdom, which is all about emptiness. And emptiness is the highest teaching in Buddhism. Emptiness is a space between your thoughts, emotions, and feelings. If we are not our thoughts, emotions, and feelings, what are we?" And that's where the love, locate, open, vest, and expand practices come in. If we locate that space between our thoughts, emotions, and feelings, we open our hearts, we invest in what we find there, in that flow of wisdom and compassion, and then we expand beyond our conditioned limits. So emptiness in Buddhism, the tradition I practiced was westernized, but still hard in ways to kind of really grasp. But this idea of this space between our thoughts, emotions, and feelings is in the Tao Te Ching, the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu text. It's in the Golden Mean, in major philosophies for centuries. And it's amazing that we're not talking about this more. It's the middle way, right? Between the pushing and pulling. When you don't push and pull, you find this space in the center.
And
This
people need
space.
this.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Yeah.
people really need this.
Yeah.
We end up going to church and we learn about hope and faith and love and the teachings of the Bible. But, with this, it's deeper. You're getting into your heart and soul and to learn about.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was teaching a class about love just a couple of days ago, and one of the people was like, "Is that the soul that you're talking about?" And even Christianity talks about temperance, right? The middle way, and that, and yeah, it's amazing that we are, we're so stuck and concretize our thoughts, emotions, and feelings from day one. When you're born, you're labeled Nadine, and you're labeled this, and you're labeled that, and you just start to believe it, that you have to almost undo it. You're already whole and complete. It's just a matter of finding that emptiness, that space. It's empty. Consciousness is something that allows for everything, but is not affected by anything. In the
Gotcha.
middle way, there's ups and downs, but you're not pushing, you're not pulling. It's just the space of clarity and freedom. And
I
it's
like
amazing.
that. Yeah, definitely.
Amazing.
I need to do some reading on that actually. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is right up my alley. So the formula that goes into P.E.R.L.O.V.E, can you
Mhm.
explain that formula to us?
Sure. So, like I said, there's per. We have a forum we teach. I teach twice a month called the Perfect Practice Forum. But pledge, evaluate, recognize is the more cerebral part of the formula, where you're first learning to train the mind. You pledge 1 minute 6 times a day to watch your mind. So P is pledge, 1 minute. Take a deep breath in. You watch your mind, and you're not judging it. You're not trying to push it away. And you do this for 1 minute 6 times a day. People are like, is that even long enough? But if you keep doing, and what we've been doing, something over and over and over and over again, eventually it will become habit, and you will start watching your mind automatically. So then you have this habit created of being aware, more aware of what's going on in your head, right? And then we evaluate what we've shoved away, parts of us that we've rejected, and we don't want people to see, we don't want to look at ourselves, yet we're creating from, right? These
Yeah.
things that have been under our level of awareness, that the anxiety that we react to, the anger, the low self-worth, we evaluate those in E, and then we recognize them as they come up in our daily life. There's a moment when that thought first comes and that emotion first shows up in your physical emotion, or that feeling, if you can catch it, right, and hold it in your awareness without pushing it away or trying to appease it, without pulling it towards you, just hold it like a wave in the ocean, it will dissipate. And the
Yeah.
next time, and so nerve cells that no longer fire together, no longer wire together. So if you're not engaging in this thought and wrestling it, being in the jaws of a wild dog or going down a rabbit hole, those
Yeah.
nerve cells are going to start to not fire together, right? Creating that space for those
Wow.
new patterns to be creative. And so that's the first part of the formula: pledge, evaluate, recognize.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a journey. It takes time. It doesn't take, it's a moment. It's their mindfulness, right? Mindfulness is defined as moment to moment, non-judgmental awareness. And when
Gotcha.
and when you live in that place, you can start to see, like, oh, I get it. I see I see you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like I know when I hit 40 years old, it's
Yeah.
like I noticed for me, I became a better listener and I became
Mm.
more aware to the surroundings. But I also know time is flying. What happened to when we were little
Oh, I know.
kids? I
I
was
know.
like, I waited forever for Christmas. Now it's like
I know.
here.
I know. I'm with you, Nadine. I hear you. Like my son is like, You think it's normal that I'm 56 years old?
You
What's
don't even look
happened?
56 at all. You're looking like
Oh,
you're in your 20s, girl.
oh, come on. Well, thank
No,
you very
yeah.
much.
So, but yeah, I mean, just the way time goes, and they say count every minute you have, it's
That's
like,
right. That's
really?
right.
But I want to hold on to some of those minutes, and it's about making memories now,
It is. And actually, this journey, we all know that this human experience is temporary, right?
Yeah.
But we all try to hold on to it for so long. But when you start to realize, and so the love practices, then the more spiritual of the practices, is when you locate that space in between your thoughts. You use you look at it as an object of meditation, and it's expandable. It moves. Probably, you can start to sense that it might be more than this body and mind. You drop into your heart, because they say that the true nature of the mind. Did you know that 400 years ago, most Eastern countries, heart and mind were the same words, right? It was Western countries and in Europe that started to elevate the mind over the heart, right? Or excuse me, the brain.
The
But who's
brain.
to say the mind isn't in the heart? So you drop into the heart, you open your heart, and this amazing flow comes through. And you start to recognize it may, when you start to see you start to see your thoughts, emotions, and feelings for what it's been creating in your life, start to create something new, and you start to lighten up your grasp on
Mhm.
this whole experience, and you start to enjoy it so much more. Yeah.
See, I mean, I'm learning that. I also know when you're falling in love with somebody, it's this
Mm-hmm.
whole new like feeling throughout your body. It's like everything. I don't know what it is, but I was like, but then if you get heartbroken from that, it's a whole different,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
goes,
Well,
but how do you stay in that one space that you loved? It's like, I just want to have it in the middle. I don't want
right,
to
right,
be
right,
really
right.
good
We have to
and
look at what your definition of happiness is, right? Because you're never going to stay at that elated space. It's unsustainable. And there's going to be lows, but you're never going to stay
yeah.
there. But the point is to be, if you don't push towards, if you don't push away the bad stuff and pull towards you the good stuff, you just find that peace regardless of what's going on.
You know,
That, go
yeah,
ahead.
you are so right. I had a moment of clarity. Like somebody said, we need to date. You need to date me. And I go, I'm sorry. I'm already taken. He goes, what do you mean? I go, I'm dating myself.
I love that. I
I was like,
absolutely love
and
that.
after I said that, that's something I would have never said. And I was so proud of myself, and just that feeling like I stood up for me. This is
Right. No,
great.
good. And yeah, and your self notices that for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
definitely,
It's
we don't
beautiful.
need anybody else to define who we are as a person, because we're learning that through our journey, who we are. So
And a lot of times those types of people will, if you're not being supportive or loving to yourself, you're going to attract those types of people in your life. And it's going to happen over and over and over, because the mind, actually, the brain will create situations to reinforce that programming, you know?
yes, it does. It
Yeah.
does. And
Right. So until you say, wait a minute, I'm dating myself here, it's
yeah,
going to keep doing that.
but it's funny because I agree with that statement, because I was like, people go, well, you just attract the people that are doing bad to you. And it's like, for the longest time, what signal am I sending? Because I'm
Right.
happy and I have a good heart. Like, why am I getting challenges? Are
Right.
constant.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
broken. I'm not here to fix anybody. So if I roll over what I've learned, but it builds a fear, and I hate that, because any potential, like if I go out, I don't have a trust. My wall is back up. I don't want to go on a date. I
yeah.
don't want to do this. I don't want to get hurt again. I have this huge fear, and it's like, it's not fair to that person, but then I still got to be at my time, because this stuff really did happen. I always say, if somebody likes you, they're willing to wait. And, however long it does take, it will take, but you got to learn who you are as a person before you can love somebody else.
Oh, that's absolutely true. You can't love anyone else until you love yourself. So the V in Love is vest or invest
Yeah.
in this flow of energy that comes through an open heart, but also to invest or take ownership of all the obstacles in your life, because every person in your life is showing you what you need to set yourself free. So if
Yeah.
you look at these people, it's like you said, what am I doing that's creating this?
Yeah.
It's everything in your life is showing you what you need to set yourself free. So
Yeah.
there
And
you
I
go.
mean, yeah. And I see it more clearly. Like, I don't want to say I'm burying myself in work. I mean, I love my job. I'm a certified wedding coordinator. I
Uh,
I work around love all the time. And maybe because I don't have it, but I'm happy for everybody else. And then I think of the movie The Wedding Planner, and I'm like, at the point, like, I'm getting old. And I have these conversations. I go, okay, the part of the movie, she's organized. Yes. She likes to eat good food. Yes. She can coordinate events. Yes. I go, I haven't fallen in the street in high heels yet. So,
yeah, all the things to be grateful for, right?
looking guy pick me up now. So, I mean, it's just one of those, learning curves, but the vesting, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and the E is going to be what?
Ease expanding beyond your conditioned limits.
Okay.
Yeah. When
That's
you start, like I said, so awakening is beyond words, because this thinking mind, can't explain it, but it's best explained as a slight shift in perspective when you realize that this is the experience, right?
yeah.
And that you are connected to everything and everyone and everywhere. And this is consciousness experiencing itself, right? So
Yeah.
you're expanding beyond this. My name's Holly. I was born here. I'm going to live to be this, and I'm going to die. You know, to realizing that I'm here experiencing life as consciousness, right? I'm experiencing myself. I can touch and smell and feel and appreciate. And like I said, you touch the world lighter, and you appreciate things so much more, and everything seems so much more beautiful. And yeah, you expanding beyond what you've been stuck in, that TEF, that thoughts, emotions, and feelings
Yeah.
highway that we've been
Very
on, stuck
true.
on. Yeah, it's
Very.
beautiful. It's yeah.
So, like, I learned something about myself. Like, when I started this podcast, I was reading, of course, about podcasts and what you need to do. And it was like, you should have an Instagram, you should have TikTok. I'm like, TikTok? You know what? I use TikTok now more than I use Instagram for some
Do
reason.
you really? Wow,
But
good for
I
you.
want to be like honest and show people that I'm real, and kind of things like this. Yes, I want my hair to be, yeah, I'm not going to care. Like, yeah, I'll try to make myself look a little bit cuter, but I'm getting gray. So, but real,
I love
like,
that. I love you. Huh?
I I'm just like, I notice it's like, hey guys, what's up? Let's talk about this today. But it's a real genuine thing. Like, I got catfish not too long ago.
Oh
I don't know
no.
what catfish was, but I haven't really listened to other podcasts yet. But I looked up on podcast catfish, and it came to this really good catfish podcast. I think it was related to MTV or something, but anyways, long story short, I was like, yes, I'm going through all this. And it really, really did help me. But the TikTok is letting me express this whole other side. I get to sing. I'm using like filters. I have my dog in one, I was just like, this is cool, so people get to see the two sides. You got the professional podcaster person, but then you get to jump onto a TikTok and see what is she really like, because I mean, I had a trouble. I was trying to write my about page, and I was like, I don't know what to write about me, but I can talk about me. I'm like, why can't I put it into words? I don't want to sound like a robot.
Right.
Hey, what's
Well,
up?
every challenge is showing you, you can, you grow a little bit with everything you do. So TikTok, I looked at TikTok, and I might re-look at it again after what you said today, but good for
I
you.
come healing to me in a weird way. Like, I never thought it would. So I have to call it weird way because I thought it was going to be Instagram, but then I'm reading about like the things that are going to be happening in the industry, marketing, with
Hmm.
AI coming out. And I was talking about LinkedIn and Pinterest. And,
Yeah,
you
I've
know,
heard about LinkedIn. Yeah.
I was like, Pinterest, I better get on my game because I used to have Pinterest for it. And I was like, if that's going to be going into the future too, it's like you've got to like time management. That's the word I'm looking for.
That's
You need
right. There's so much you can do. The research, it's good to do the research. So
But you got to do that with yourself. That's what I'm trying to wrap this all into. Make time to learn yourself
that's
and
right.
your per love thing formula because that's going to help a lot of people out there. And,
I hope so. I hope so. I'm in a great place where I have time and energy and effort to, share this with as many people as I can. And speaking of that, if they sign up for my newsletter, you get a free link to a class called The Lost Formula to Happiness. And it explains each one of the P.E.R.L.O.V.E practices and all the gurus and teachings behind it. So plus you get a monthly newsletter with insights on the practices and their expandingness, expansive, they're
that's a
expanding,
expandingness.
whatever,
I like
as
that
they
word.
expand.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, if people are interested, you just go to my website, prloveformula.com, and sign up for the newsletter. You get the class. And one thing I like to tell people, Nadine, is we've created so many negative habits without even recognize it. If
Yep.
there's something you like or something that you hear or something you want to learn, just listen to it over and over and over and over and over. 20, it takes 3 times to even remember it, 8 times to get it to sink in, and 21 days to make it a habit. So like if you like this podcast and you like what we're talking about, you'll be like, yeah, there was something cool about it. But you have to watch it 3 times to really even kind of be able to explain it to somebody else. So if you
Yeah.
get the class and you like it, listen to it over and over and over again. And put an intention out there and you will find your way. You will
Yes.
find your way to the space between your thoughts, emotions, and feelings. And let me tell you, it's well worth the journey.
I agree. And I think it's funny because I've got this concept and I don't know if it really works in my head, but when I go to bed, I'll put my AirPods on. It's either music, but I've been doing audible books and
Uh-huh.
listening to certain topics that have interest. But I know I do fall asleep because I think it's something soothing, somebody
Right,
reading to me
right,
like I'm a
right.
little kid. But I was like, is it sinking in there while I'm asleep? It's a
Mm.
conscious mind taking that in too and learning from it. But I caught myself, I guess I woke up and it was still going on, this story. And I said, I already know that. When I was asleep, I was like, I already know that. Like I was trying to correct the book.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
it
That's
is like,
funny. But
it's like,
it's often the last thing, like I tell people when they go to sleep at night, give yourself love and support. Like
yeah,
as corny as, I love you, Holly, and I'm here to support you. I know, I understand compassion because that's the last thing you go to sleep with. If you do that enough, you'll eventually wake up with some love and compassion instead of all that negative stuff,
yeah.
attacking you first thing in the morning.
And what I do is like, even if like negativity too, like I go, you're not going to win. I got this because I'm strong and I name all the good qualities and why it's not going to enter me and I'm shielding it off.
Yeah,
That,
good. That works too. There are a lot of ways to find that space between your thoughts, emotions, and feelings. P.E.R.L.O.V.E is just one of them, but many, many teachings and many ways to hold sacred that true nature, that space within.
definitely, definitely. And then, yeah, going to bed before night is a perfect example because you want to wake up in a good mood. You don't want to like, well, my dogs wake me up before my alarm, so I don't know if I'm in a good
Right.
like I get up at 6 and my dog is 5:30 going like right in my
That's
ear and I'm like,
that's
dude,
hilarious.
do this. But yeah, so I mean, everything that you've been through and going through this, and you're empowering other people to take a hold of this, which is really, really good too. And I want to put
Thank
all
you.
your socials on all of the media so they can find it too. So, and then with your newsletter, I want to get it out in there. I know I'm going to be signing it because I want to hear from you nonstop. And
Great.
I know you have a newsletter, but like I've interviewed so many authors. I know I have to write a book. You're gonna write a book too.
Yeah, I've written a manuscript, but at the time I was writing to get to P.E.R.L.O.V.E.
Yeah.
And it was worth it. And someday I'll go back to the book and it'll be so much better. When in the divine timing, it'll be out there for sure. But yeah.
Exactly. I like that. In the divine time. For now, it's podcast world for me. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'm getting the word
that's
out
right.
there. So,
Yeah, well, great. I love what you're doing, Nadine. I'm so happy to be on your podcast, and I'm excited to hear other ones from you. It's
oh my
been
gosh.
great.
I'm excited too. We're already booked up till almost February now. So a lot of good speakers coming up too. So I'm excited.
Great.
It's a great journey. But yeah, really quick. I mean, thank you for definitely coming on the show and sharing all this information. You are such a
Sure.
powerful, inspirational woman. And
Oh,
I
thank
mean,
you.
your journey, you're a warrior too. And I love that about your
Woo!
sometimes we have to get knocked down a few times just to learn who we are as a person,
That's right. That's
strong
right.
we really are.
Unfortunately, as human beings, we almost have to hit rock bottom, which I definitely did, and then crawl our way back up. But when we do, it's definitely worth it. So anyone out there listening, if you're stuck, if you don't know where to go, you don't have to know how to get out. You just have to believe that it's possible, and it is possible.
Yes, it is. Yes, I am definitely proof of that too. Yeah, it is.
Excellent.
I've just been through everything also, and it's just you got to be strong and move forward. I also wanted to thank our other sponsors, and I'm sorry, I have a little tickle in my throat. I hope I'm not getting a cold. But our other sponsors who make Keep Hope Alive podcast a great reality, and we're here for you guys too. Lifeonrecord.com, who is our interactive guest book, which is cool with the rotary dial phone. And you can leave messages. Our next one is bridalshowsinc.com. If you are in the Dallas Fort Worth area looking to plan an event, they have about 4 to 5 trade shows throughout the year. And you can go and meet your vendors and learn what they do, get pricing and all that. So check them out. Then we have Party Time Texas, your one-stop shop for all your party planning needs, whether you need a DJ, band, caterer, venue, photographer, videographer, juggler, a robot coming out to dance, or a lookalike like Ricky and Lucy. They do it all. So that's www.partytimetexas.com. Our next one is Miles and Smiles. I love her name. DeborahRose.com. She does handwriting analysis and lipstick readings, and she is so accurate on cue. Like my mouth dropped open when I was talking to her. I've seen her in action at events, and she's amazing. So please check her out. Then we have Bryce Harmony. He's traveling all over the United States right now, but he is a magician and mind mentalist, and he does really, really good work. Check him out at www.brycemagic.com. And our last one is richmondpunch.net. He is a violinist who graduated from the Juilliard, has performed in front of 1 million people, and he goes across the United States playing his violin, and he's wonderful. He's been on a couple Lifetime shows too with spots and everything. So, but check them out. Remember that you can always call us if you have questions for our guest speakers too. That phone number is 833-780-HOPE. I've added another function onto my website where you can leave us a message there too, and we will get right back to you with those. Make sure you can find us anywhere you find your podcast, but make sure to subscribe on YouTube as well. You can find us at www.keephopealivepodcast.com. I want to thank you definitely again for coming on to the show. And
Yes, thank you, Nadine. It's been really fun, super
I know
fun.
I didn't make you, I didn't want to sound like I was calling you. You're not, you're so young, but you are very, very knowledgeable. So yeah, you gotta forgive me on that one.
I got my wisdom thing going, I guess. I'll take that. No worries. No worries. It's been fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, guys. Love and light. Mwah. Until our next show. Bye bye.
Bye.